I'm Howie Kahn, this is Late Tackle.
Howie, after your performance this evening, it's actually a very, very late tackle.
Extremely late tackle.
I mean, you basically missed kickoff.
I think it was actually a setup.
Should we just get straight into when rugby talks?
Yeah, please, Wims, just take it away there.
Hi, my name is Howie Kahn. It's my birthday today.
Where did you pull that one from?
I'm 48. I matriculated at Wynberg, Kruinberg Boys High in 1982. Happy birthday, Howie.
Thanks, boys. Thank you very much. Well, listen, thanks for that. Can we please get back to this chap?
It's actually an improvement.
But
there was one reaction to the yellow card in which it appeared you swore and were accusing someone of being a cheat. Is it heat of the moment? Do you apologise?
No one ever said. What are you talking about?
But it's best to ask. It's best to ask
Is
you,
that really
Michael.
what we're going? No, is that really what we're coming? Is that what it's coming down?
It's going to be replayed on TV. It's best that you
play whatever they like. If that's what it's come down to, that's it, right? I'm trying to have an interview without getting stuck into that, and you want to try to keep making it. No, you are. So don't say you're not. Have the respect for me to say I am doing that at least, and I'm trying to fight it off, right? At no stage, maybe I could have said something, but if that's the new thing, well, yeah, maybe I did swear. I don't know, right? It happens sometimes in life. I'm sure you have as well. Have you? Maybe the TV camera wasn't on you at the time.
Worms, you know all about this guy. When he first came out coaching the Wallabies, he was a mouthful. He wasn't scared to have a say. I think that was quite tame. I mean, he was getting baited there, and to his credit, he held back a bit there.
No, I think in Europe, because whether it was French, Italian, whatever, it wasn't his first language, and the sort of Latin blood enjoys that bit of emotional volatility. Where it's less appreciated in the Super Rugby circles. I think when he first came back and he coached the Warriors, I think he broke a door at the ACT Brumby Stadium. He sort of, unfortunately, he abused the cameraman at Kings Park in Durban. He's a very passionate man.
It's quite humid in Durban. So
exactly. I don't blame him.
Was he at Stade Francais then Leinster? Was it the other way around?
No, other way around. Yeah.
But he's won trophies wherever he's been.
Except Stade Francais, yeah.
He looks like such a grumpy old...
You'd be much more chilled if you had,
I wouldn't want him as a coach.
He definitely comes across that way, but I think he's not actually that grumpy. He's just got very little time for the periphery. He's all about the game, the team, how the team is playing, what's next to do. He really doesn't, and one needs to bear in mind, I think it is public knowledge, but he's an incredibly successful businessman in his own right. He doesn't coach for a profession, he coaches for a passion.
What has he done in business?
He's in fashion, believe it or not.
Really?
He set up a fashion empire. Yeah.
But look, him against Eddie Jones, to me, that's worth the sort of entry price alone to a stadium. I mean, the banter those two have before a game, after a game, I think rugby needs characters like that.
100%.
Would you rather disappoint him or your father? Or your wife?
D, none of the above.
Yeah. That's probably the safest one.
Cheap. You're putting me on the
my
spot
wedding
there.
ring off now, so I mean, jeez.
On the market.
It's dangerous times.
Yeah.
Worms, aside from that horrific picture of me, what else have you got?
For rugby said what?
For rugby said what?
Okay, so I'm going to again stick with the European...
Also gone for someone else with spectacles on there.
Yeah, exactly. Good, I'll say it in English just so that I don't have to say two sentences. My quote of the week comes from the French coach at the post-Springbok Test match press conference, where he was asked by a journalist about what was going to happen now that the French have lost 2 out of 2. Okay, and basically what that's about, and just clearly demonstrates that the complete disconnect within the French game is Bernard Laporte said before the start of the autumn series that if the French lost more than one game, it was a travesty. Mm-hmm. But this was never agreed with, according to Novez, it was never agreed with him beforehand. The team doesn't know anything about it. So now he's in a pickle. There's still one game to play. It's already a travesty, which in French means you're probably going to get fired. Where to from now is what the guy was saying. And he just said, you guys are honestly wearing me out. I never signed up for that.
Maybe he needed Michael Checker in there with him.
Exactly, he probably does.
Sticking with...
just actually, sorry, one more just before you get on there. 9 o'clock kickoffs in France. I mean, how many naps did you have in a day to play a 9 o'clock game? I mean, I struggle with the 7 o'clock game in South Africa. I mean, 9 o'clock.
You are 65 though.
Oh, I am 65.
Yeah.
And more respect from you two, please. I'm older than both of you put together, basically. Is that a marketing ploy? Do you get more eyes? Do you not clash with football kickoffs? What is the thinking?
I think it's international matches in general. I think that.
But France are the only ones, if I'm not mistaken, that go for these. I mean, like Twickenham's 2:30, Dublin, whatever, 5 o'clock. I mean, is it just maybe literally they can't fit any more games in, and the French are going, look, we'll do the 9 o'clocks?
I think that definitely plays a role. But look, 9 o'clock games are not only test matches.
Yes.
I once kicked off
exactly.
a game for Stade Francais at 9:45.
On a Sunday, sometimes they play their Sunday night games.
That was actually a Friday night, but yes, some Sunday night games will kick off at 8:30, 9 o'clock. It's just,
What's the thought?
That's a very good question. It's French, and they do whatever they think, whatever they see is
Sticking
fit.
with the French idea, my quote this week comes from.
Take it to the wall of shame there.
Yeah. Okay, so my quote this week comes from Fabien Galtier, and he's a 60. If you don't know him, then you don't know what you're doing in this seat. But he's a 64 test scrum off for France. Very outspoken. Currently, he's the head coach of Toulon, in fact, and. He said something along the lines of, over the weekend he witnessed two sleeping giants of world rugby, namely the French and the Springboks, stay in bed and continue to sleep. Extremely outspoken. And I think, to be brutally honest, I think he speaks a lot of sense in that little one-liner that he's just given us. He really has hit the nail on the head. I think if you look at the quality of rugby, it's actually sad to see Springbok and French rugby be that pathetic. But yeah, I don't know, Worms, what do you reckon? They were fast asleep.
Yeah. But I'm not sure I would bracket the French and the Springboks in the same level at sort of carrying the same legacy in world rugby, to be honest.
I think
that's a highly
I might be
debatable
quite
topic.
biased, but I think
twice World Cup winners. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Springboks ahead.
Yes, I'm saying Springboks have got a slightly better, which is potentially more an indictment.
I hear you, but the aura that the two teams have, this French flair, the brand of rugby that the French play. The French are up there with teams that you want to watch. If they're playing a test match, you want to watch them. If you look back over the years,
they've always been able to beat the best at the best.
Yeah.
I actually got a lot of friends in English rugby, and they all criticize me for my sort of love for the French romance. They reckon that ended 10 years ago when Bernard Laporte was coach. He coached them to actually be sort of more robotic because they were making mistakes. They would do the crap the one day or champagne the one day and crap the next day. So they beat New Zealand in New Zealand with a try from the other end of the earth, and the next week lose to Italy at home. So I think he was trying to get them to be a bit more consistent, but I think he took their flair away of it.
I just want to test the factual correctness of your statement earlier. You said you have friends in England?
Well, friends.
Really?
To start with.
In plural.
How he has friends in the way.
Okay.
Check Facebook. It's a true
Check
story.
Facebook.
Facebook doesn't
Are those
lie.
not Gupta bots or something?
Yeah, anyway.
No, I think you can, we'll say that. And then I've got no doubt that maybe next year, the year after, they'll pull out a performance, particularly if Guy Norvez is going to stay coach. And they're going to continue to pick 21-year-olds who haven't even played a full top 14 season to start as their 9 and 10. There's always that chance.
Interesting. So what Galtier said about two sleeping giants, whatever, he had those two were the countries that went head-to-head for the World Cup bid, and the French beat us. So they reckon they won one. There was a fight this week, and we won the next one on the weekend.
Yeah, for the win on the weekend, I don't know how much of a win that is, to be honest.
Win's a win.
A win's a win.
A win's a win.
I think our conversation will be
sad
very
thing.
difficult.
You know what? That's the sad thing about what you just said now is the sad thing about South African rugby currently. We've got to the point now where no matter how it comes, we'll just take a win.
Well, a win in France any day of the year is a good win.
Cheapers against a shocking French team.
But more, the other thing is, a South African and a Springbok rugby supporter is bloody difficult to please. You lose, you're the worst in the world. You win, you didn't score four tries. You're not playing attacking enough rugby. You do that, but then you concede 4 tries while doing it. Then your defense is not good enough. I mean, it's like it is.
I get that.
It's a tough crowd to please.
It's a tough crowd to please, but I mean, Worms. I've seen.
Look,
What I quite enjoyed.
I'm fighting hard here, but I'm fighting hard.
You are like, and that's what I'm saying. That's how our mindset as South Africans has become, and it's like it irritates me actually, to be honest, because we need to start calling a spade, and literally what we are currently dishing out is like nowhere near acceptable.
What I enjoyed from Saturday was when that French prop Kotze went on for the French in the second half. I mean, and this is like a point that I wanted to bring up at some point. Eligibility. Now I see the latest thing now. Brad Shields, New Zealander, Kiwi, born, bred, etc. Got called up for New Zealand, and he said, "Look, I'm alright, guys. I rather want to play for England."
Thought he'd signed for Wasps.
Apparently, I think Wasps and Gloucester are having a go there, if not mistaken. Or I think it's more than just one. I think it's more than just one. And the minute he moves into England, he plays for England.
Is that a factor?
It's a fact.
Well, you've got friends in England, Howie, so I trust you.
Brad Shields and I aren't friends. But, Worms, if you went to France as a 24-year-old and you stayed there for what, 4 years? What's the criteria? 3 years, I think?
3 years, yeah.
And you played for France. Would you have done it? You could have played for France. Would you have done it?
Well, I'd be highly unlikely that I'd play for the Springboks at that point.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes. I mean, ultimately, guys are professionals.
But you're getting invited to training camps. You potentially just turn down a call-up like Shields did. Potentially.
That's quite controversial.
But I think the underlying factors there.
That wasn't the question that you asked me.
That's the question that I'm asking.
Then you're asking now. That is...
Like, he's close enough. He's obviously on the radar. Obviously. Behind Liam Squire and Fafita, etc.
So that's the problem, is...
Now he's actually making a career choice on a slightly different level.
Well, if he's eligible to make the choice, then by all means let him make the choice. You know, if you wouldn't be able to make the choice if there was no gap for him to play, he wouldn't make the choice.
A guy that's got a British passport, does that make him more British than a guy like Worms who just spent 3 years in the country, for argument's sake? Get Worms at least been there for 3 years. For argument's sake. You get a guy like Michael Rhodes is going to qualify on residency now. A guy like Don Amant went to England on an ancestral visa, for argument's sake. He's played for England now. There's a guy, what is that, Leeds flanker?
Listen, the All Black side would be very
South African guy, Hefuri, I think it was.
Henry Fourie.
He played for England and then got deported because he didn't have like a valid passport.
The All Black team would be very different if that was the case too.
So I actually, believe it or not, I listened to other podcasts. Sorry, chaps. Honestly cool here. And I was listening to one a while ago, and they had Dan Leo on the Samoan. And he was saying until enough money gets taken to the Pacific Islands for the rugby in that country, they will keep leaving. And you can't blame the guys when they're going to go fend for family. I mean, I see Feketau went off to Toulon. He's got a lot of brothers and sisters, and he said he's gone to Toulon to fend for his family.
That's the same as Nick, the honey badger going to Japan. And giving up his own thing. Yeah,
but then the other one is the new Japanese flanker, Wimpy van der Walt. I'm sure you guys might know him quite well from Cape Town. You know, I mean, like, where do you draw the line? That's all I'm trying to ask. If you're in a national training squad, should you be barred from playing for another country? There's even loopholes to get around playing for your under-20 national team. For example, if you play for S under-20 and they play against New Zealand, that doesn't country tie you because the New Zealand under-20 team isn't their second best team. So there are ways to get around it.
We want to see the best players playing on the best stage, which is the international.
The problem is then the currency is always going to play a role.
Yeah.
Because then so be it.
Yeah, but then you're going to have very little in the southern hemisphere, bar New Zealand, and a lot in the northern hemisphere. So you're not going to have the best versus the best.
Well, you still get is that a word?
I think just don't say patriarch. Okay? After all, you went to a private school.
No, you're still gonna get those that want to play for the Springboks. Those that grow up wanting to play for the Boks.
Patriotic is perhaps the word.
Patriotic is the word I was looking for.
Yeah, Morgs. But if you look at the trend of the average age of Oaks going overseas.
No,
I'm not saying that play for France. I'm saying that leave South Africa at a younger age.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they're leaving younger.
Rightly so. If I was Chesden, I'd also be gone at the drop of a hat. If I was Lucanio Am, I'd be gone. If I was Mapimpi, I'd go. If I was at the top of their career, if I'm Damien Allende, I'd be gone.
Mapimpi's 27. He's old.
But anyway, you know what I'm saying.
Let's move on.
Please.
I'm old.
You are.
65, what now?
65. Pension age. Now it's time for Thing of the Week. Another thing that I like to do in my spare time is read, which is at Weinberg they taught us how to read. They taught
Could have fooled me. Yeah.
bishops how to do maths. I'm not sure what they taught you.
No, they taught us how to play rugby.
Against Ronwood.
I was about to say, things have changed.
Lee Byrne, the Welsh fullback,
Yes.
and British Lions released a book. And one of these things that came out in his book this week was a story about Andy Powell. So Wales were playing against Italy, and I think it was 2000. And at halftime, they were I think they were like 9-6 down or something at halftime. And Gatland gives them an absolute mouthful. He's going at them, this, that, the next. And Andy Powell, remember that big sort of untidy-looking Welshman, the guy who drove
a golf cart down the highway. Yeah.
Down the highway. He gets so psyched up, he leaves the circle, walks to the door, opens the door, and walks out. But what he doesn't realize is he had actually walked into a closet in the middle of the change room.
In the moment, which should be the height of seriousness and focus and determination, you just look around, you can just see glints and smiles. You just know the whole effect of the last 5 minutes is gone.
We were playing the Bulls at Newlands, actually. And Alistair could see. I don't know if you played this game, actually. But if once I tell the story, you might know. And so it's a big game, Currie Cup semi-final against the Bulls, Newlands. And the team talk, the team always stays at the Vineyard Hotel before games. And we rock up at the Vineyard Hotel and 10 minutes before the bus departs to go to the stadium. And Alistair walks in with a glass of water and a sachet of Enos. And he walks in and he says his speech. And at the end of the speech, so he's psyching the boys up. And the boys are like, ready to go out there and smash these oaks. And the last thing he says, he takes the sachet of Enos, pours it into the glass, and he says, boys, for 80 minutes, julle moet borrel. And and the glass of water with the Enos is like bubbling. And Scott turns around, looks at everyone, and he just cracks out laughing, like flat out starts to laugh. And all us juniors are like, okay, well, this is cute that we're allowed to laugh. And the whole effect of being psyched up before a game was completely gone.
Apparently the best team talk around was Halchad Miller. Shame he's got a bit of a stutter.
Because they're still talking.
He was revving the boys up. I think they were playing at Loftus, and he gets up there and he tries to tell the guys. He says, "Maar dis hier is wat kar met 'n ander tipe hubcap op or something to that effect." And that was one of his chirps. Sorry, the car with the different hubcap. But he's trying to psych the boys up, and he goes, "Manne," and he just can't get it out. And he can't, "Manne," and eventually goes, "Nee, kom ons op," and he led the team out.
Actually, I have to just drop a quick F-bomb, man. It just suddenly makes everything okay.
I haven't been this sober on my birthday since I was 60. Right, with that.
1984.
I actually lost it before you said 1984.
Intro the yes, no.
Intro the yes, no. I'm not even
All
involved.
right, with that, we're on to the yes, no game. Gents, even you can answer this. Even you guys can't get this wrong, or could you? I ask a question, it's yes or it's no. No maybe, and no reason why.
No clarifying. Emphasis.
Except for the last one.
Maybe.
Except for the last one, we'll see. All right. The Elliot Daly try, England against Australia, try or no try?
Yes.
No.
Morgs. Nahalo against the Scots. Went for the high ball and took a Scotsman out in the air. Red card or not?
No.
Yes.
Is this Tiddlywinks?
Coaches swearing on TV.
Yes.
Should we block them out? Should we not focus on them during a game? Should we just let the coaches be coaches?
Benny McCarthy.
Lip reading is good, yes.
A green card for professional fouls. So like a 5-minute sin binning and you can get sort of 2 or 3 of them a game, it doesn't get you sent off.
No.
No.
Rugby needs to be simplified.
My choice of shoes for the week, yes or no?
Still a no.
Wow. Emphasis no.
All right, we're on to predictions for this week, chaps. 4 big test matches coming this weekend. We'll look at these 4 games and you can make your predictions. Wales, New Zealand and Cardiff. Morgs.
Wales by 15.
Wales, New Zealand.
I mean, sorry, New Zealand.
No, he said Wales already. Worms.
New Zealand by 15.
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Wales won, but I'm going to go New Zealand again by a small margin, though, less than 10.
I say Wales. I mean, New Zealand 15.
Scotland, Australia.
Australia at a hair's breadth.
Scotland beat Australia in Australia earlier this year. And then lost to Fiji the next week.
I'll go for Hugh Jones and his mates.
Italy, South Africa.
No, South Africa will take this one. If they pick the right team, please.
South Africa as well, comfortably.
Pick all youngsters.
England, Samoa.
England.
Yeah.
By a long way.
Yeah. England by a while.
Now, I actually want to focus on England, Samoa in particular. This England team, they can't really seem to lose. They win ugly, they win well. And a guy that's been doing damn well for them, leading them, and I thought it was exceptional over the weekend, was Dylan Hartley. And there's a huge, I think in England, you're either a Hartley man or a Jamie George man. There's a theory, you don't start Hartley, you can't put Hartley on the bench. You want to start George, you've got to then bring in a new hooker altogether. What do you think Hartley brings as a captain?
I'm not 100% sure Hartley's going to captain England at the 2019 World Cup. Whereas Eddie Jones came in and he said he wants to go back to the true identity of English rugby, the sort of identity that made them famous, and for that he needs a bloody hard-nosed guy who's gonna put some sort of fear or intimidation into the opponents. And Dylan Hartley was the ideal man to lead that. I think he saw him as the Martin Johnson equivalent character. I don't think Dylan Hartley is the best hooker in England. But, we can go back, we can go almost through all team sports and know that your captain is not always your best player.
I believe the captain needs to be the number one player in his position in order to have the respect of the players around him and to lead from the front on the field. If it's an old buddy that hasn't been around and he's sort of just there, but he's not really the feel off that, and they start to be murmurs of, the younger guy who maybe he's understudy may not be happy, and for rightly so because he's not performing.
There's another thing I think that needs to be brought in here, and that is the role that your sort of senior team players have. The olden days of you sort of having a captain and then a team, those days are long gone. You've got a senior players group who would probably help a transition, but who also play very other important roles that allow Dylan Hartley, as an example, to focus on his role specifically. Can't see Dylan Hartley leading the team fines meeting. But potentially Jamie George
probably does.
In his character, he's probably got a more active role there.
I actually met Jamie George in Cape Town a few years ago. Slanging letters.
Is he one of your English mates?
No, he's not. He's too young.
We have to check Facebook.
He actually was on holiday with Nick Fenton Wells, and I met them at the Slanging Letters. We all good friends.
He might have done a stint at the Province Rugby Academy. In fact, he definitely did.
Oh, really?
Him, Jackson Ray, Wolf Fraser, they were there same time as Nick Groom.
I think he's a bit young for that. Check your stats, Jamie George.
I will.
Check your stats.
I will.
Check it for next week.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gents,
Sorry,
thank
Dad.
you very much. Boys, thank you for joining.
Shut up, Howie.
This is Late Tackle.
Cheers,
Don't
Howie.
forget, you can send in your comments, your suggestions. There's an email address here somewhere, I've been told. I'm not quite sure where it is. Hopefully covering one or two of these guys over here.
You need to get a new joke.
I'm sorry that I was late. I'm very sorry. We should cover my face.
Emphasis on late tackle.
Next week, it'll be early tackle.
But quickly before we go, to all the viewers, if they bring in an item of clothing, right, you will wear it on the next episode of the show.
As your fine for being late.
Okay.
Yes.
Whatever they
And if
send
I'm early
in.
next
Whatever they send
No, then
in,
you're still wearing it.
whatever they send, they'll bring in and you're going to wear it next
week.
week.
All right, email address is over here. Thanks very much.
And the
We'll see you
postal
next
address
week.
for the kit?
We'll deal with that on email.